You at the Zoo is an eTech Ohio project, produced in partnership with CET, Think TV, and the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden, with additional support provided by the Robert Gould Foundation.
Hi, I'm Thane Maynard from the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden.
And I'm Ebony from the You at the Zoo team. Today we're investigating what makes a bird a bird.
Birds are found all over the world in all kinds of colors, shapes, and sizes. The way a bird looks can tell us a lot about how it lives. To find out more about birds, let's visit Gary Denzler, the chief bird trainer here at the Cincinnati Zoo.
What makes a bird a bird? Well, a lot of people think, well, they can fly. Well, that doesn't separate them because mammals, of course, with bats can fly, insects can fly, there's even a fish that can fly. The one thing that separates birds from all other animals is feathers. All birds have feathers, all birds lay eggs, all birds have beaks. Most birds have hollow bones. Everything about a bird is built for flight. The birds that do fly, they're built very, very light. A house cat weighs more than my bald eagle, but it's a big bird. If you took all the feathers off of a bird, there's really not a whole lot of an animal bird. You can tell a lot about how a bird lives and how it survives just by the shape of its beak. A predatory bird like a hawk has a curved beak and it's used to tear the prey apart after it does its killing. The flamingo's beak actually works upside down as it leans into the water. A parrot's beak is designed for cracking open seeds and nuts, so they have a very strong, powerful beak. No matter where you live, you're going to be around birds. They're everywhere. If you go outside any building, the first sign of life you're going to see, other than people, is going to be birds. They're just part of our everyday life.
So Ebony, would you say this is a bird?
Don't think so. That's an American alligator. Alligators might lay eggs, but they don't have any feathers and they can't fly, so they are definitely not birds.
That's right, this isn't a bird, this is Daytona. He's a one-year-old alligator from Florida. But Ebony, I have to ask, can all birds fly?
Interesting point. There is a lot of variety among different bird species. Let's send the You at the Zoo team to investigate the similarities and differences between two of the zoo's most popular birds.
Hello, my name's Stuart.
Hi, my name's Jocelyn.
Hi, my name's Calvin, and today we're investigating birds.
This is Charlie. Charlie's a black-footed penguin. Some interesting adaptations that helps him to survive. His wings look like flippers. He actually can fly through the water with those flippers. His feet are just like a frogman flipper. He actually uses his feet more for steering.
How much does he weigh?
He weighs about 6 pounds. This is Rexita. Rexita is a spectacled owl. They're great hunters. They're stealthy, which means they sneak up on their prey. And one of the ways they're able to sneak up on something is their feathers. Owls have very soft feathers. So when that owl's flying, it completely silences the wind going through the feathers. And what she uses for killing the prey is her feet. She's got very strong, powerful talons or claws.
How big is your wingspan?
About 2.5 feet.
It's about like 11 inches.
11 inches, and that's only the one joint.
Looks like Charlie's wing is about 7 inches.
An owl is a great bird to look at its feathers. What do you see?
Big brown feathers and they have little stripes in them.
Yeah, you see lots of little softened edges, and that helps to keep him what?
Soundless. So.
Silent, that's right. What do you see?
Lots of little black feathers, no white feathers.
Penguins are loaded with little tight feathers. That helps to insulate them when they're swimming in the ocean. Who do you think ate what?
I think the owl eats the mouse.
I think the penguin eats the fish.
Based on their adaptations, right?
Yep.
The penguin has to be able to outswim him. And the owl has to do what to catch the mouse? Sneak up on him, that's right. Very good.
Today we learned that the owl uses its wings to fly and that the penguin uses its wings to swim.
The penguin uses its feathers for insulation and the owl uses its feathers for silent flight.
Penguins use their feet to steer themselves through water, but owls use their feet to kill their prey.
There are about 10,000 species of birds alive in the world today, and that's a lot of birds to keep straight. But the closer we look at different birds, the more we learn that a bird is a bird, and each one is different and special in its own way. I'm Thane Maynard.
And I'm Ebony.
And we'll see you at the zoo.
I was muted.
There you go, Scott.
There we go. Just a simple push of the button now. Thanks for all of you for tuning into the 39th On the Wing program with Kent Martz. And really, this show has become about our audience because they're the ones that are sending in all the photographs of birds that we are commenting on. So let's see what we got this week.
All right, so Jeff Weiss has a friend who's going to be contacting me who specializes in hummingbirds. And Jeff sent me some pictures he pulled off of his Instagram or somewhere, and they are some impressive pictures. I'm trying to get him on for a future show. Going to be very interesting. And like the guy said, I said this today on our Amazon Live broadcast that we do every Monday through Friday at 2:00 Central Time, Scott. I said, birding is one of those things you can do anywhere unless you live in somewhere like the empty quarter of Saudi Arabia or at the North or South Pole, because there's birds literally everywhere else. Deserts, there are birds. Just unless it's just nothing there, birds are there, and you can do bird watching that way. So, am I sharing my screen correctly, Scott?
No. Do you want to start with your PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought I did.
Let's bring it into.
Hang on, I'm going to have to enlarge my
Presentation
screen. Oh, I see what's going on here. It won't give me the unmute. Make it bigger, get bigger. What is going on?
Here, once you unshare,
There.
Unshare, and then
I couldn't find it. So here we go. One more time.
Yep.
Share sounds.
Sometimes when you're sharing, it covers up screens. So
yeah, that's what was happening. Okay,
yeah.
I've got two screens. I had just gone on the wrong screen for some reason. I misclicked. So there we go. All right. So welcome to On the Wings. The first, let me get my screen set up here. I've now got all sorts of things in my way. There we go. So I'm back in my office today. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, and we're going to talk about the band-tailed pigeon first. I have a hard time saying that. I want to say banded tail pigeon, but it's the band-tailed pigeon.
Band-tailed, huh?
Band-tailed, because there's a band on its tail. This is a picture taken from Oak Glen, California. The band-tailed pigeon is a North American native bird. It's a very large bird, 13 to 16 inches large, 13 to 16 inches, and it's the size of a crow. So this is a really big bird. Here we go. Let's listen to it. It's got a very deep call. Here we go. Almost owl-like.
Mm-hmm. So I'm reading that this is the biggest pigeon in North America. Is that right?
Yes. You're stealing my thunder, Scott.
Am I?
Yes. So they are very, very big birds. You can see the range map is a breeding population is in the pinkish or orangish, and year-round habitats in that blue color, that purple color. And we're going to talk about range here because, Dan George, who was the host of the show for a while, notes that birds don't respect the lines we draw on the map. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So they are a soft blue-gray on top and a purplish gray on the bottom. This with a white crescent on the back of their neck. You can see that white crescent there. The upper half of their tail is, let me go to a different bird here. Can't see it here either. Same bird, different view. Upper half of the tail is gray, fading to a pale stripe or band at the tip of the tail, thus its name. The wings are unmarked, pale gray, and have dark wingtips, which are noticeable in flight and noticeable in this photo right there on its right wing. The bills and feet are yellow. They resemble their close relative, the rock pigeon. To look at the difference, you look for long tail with the wide, pale banded tip. That makes it a band-tailed pigeon. The rock pigeon is an introduced species, while the banded-tailed pigeon is a native species. It is, as you said, the largest pigeon in North America. The birds travel in flocks, ranging in sizes from a few dozen to hundreds, while they forage for seeds, nuts, fruit, and in the trees and on the ground. The call, as we heard, is a very slow 1 or 2 syllable coo, sounding somewhat like an owl. I find it to be much deeper than the mourning doves that we're used to around here. They are birds of mature conifer forests in the western mountains, the damp forests of the west coast, and conifer oak woodlands. They'll also visit forested suburban parks, orchards, and backyard feeders to forage. There are 2 distinct breeding populations, the west coast and the southwest. They are known to travel. A bird banded in Oregon was shot a year later. Where, Scott?
Sorry?
There was a bird that was banded in Oregon was shot a year later, because there's a season on pigeons, was shot a year later in Florida. Catty corner across the United States, made it that far in 1 year. So while birds, we know what their ranges are, the birds most assuredly travel a vast distance. And as we learned last week, I think it was last week, we were talking about the white-winged dove. Both male and female doves, and pigeons are a dove, secrete crop milk to feed their nestlings. So once again, the rock pigeon has a gland in its neck that secretes crop milk to feed the baby chicks in the nest, and they can suck up and swallow water without raising their heads like most other birds. This is the beautiful band-tailed pigeon. I managed to get through without saying banded-tailed more than one time. So a beautiful bird. We talked to Carl Bernhardt yesterday. He actually took this picture, Scott. We were talking to Carl yesterday on First Light Chronicle about his ISS, International Space Station transit photos of the sun and the moon. He took this in Oak Glen, California, while he was waiting to take that picture of the ISS transit a few weeks ago. And so he's burning all the time, basically. Moving along. And as I put this together, I started thinking, I think we've done the marsh wren before recently, but it's still in the folder, so I went ahead and used it. Let's listen to the marsh wren. This is a beautiful little bird with an amazing call. So that's the marsh wren. As you can see from the map, it has a breeding population, goes up into Canada in the northern tier of the United States, migratory pattern through the mid-south and off to the east, and year-round along the Gulf Coast and out into California. This is a small bird, 4 inches to 5.5 inches long, so a small sparrow-sized. And one of the telltales is it's got a white eyebrow, but when you know it's a wren, because as it's perched, it's got that tail that sticks straight up. That's almost always the erect tail is one of the marks of being some kind of a wren. It's a rusty brown with black and white streaks down its sides. I think we got another picture here. There we go. A little bit better picture of its back. Obviously singing its song because its mouth is wide open. Streaks down its rusty dun-colored back, and it has a white eyebrow with a whitish grayish throat and underbelly. It has a thin, sharp bill, short wings, make rapid beats on their often short flights around the marsh where they flit from location to location. They bounce around with their cocktails in marshes, and I like tails cocked in marshes, not cocktails, but yeah, if they're flying with their cocktails, they'd be holding a glass in one wing and flying on the other, I think. But you know, they're denizens of marshes, cattails, bulrushes.
The only ones that are supposed to fly with cocktails are the passengers.
That's correct.
Right?
That's very true. The grass stalks of vegetation, as we saw in the picture a minute ago in the video, and the grass often will grab two different stalks and hang with their legs splayed with their feet wrapped around each different stalk. They pop up oftentimes to the tallest cattail they can find to sing its rapid fire gurgling, trilling, and buzzy song from the marsh. They build nests, multiple nests, and breed with more than one female. And the males build the multiple nests. They also are known to destroy eggs and nestlings of other marsh wrens and other marsh nesting birds. As we said, they occupy wetlands full of cattails, bulrushes, sedges, and other marsh grass. They will use freshwater or saltwater marshes year-round, and in the wintertime they can be found in brushy thickets near the wetlands and in agricultural canals. There are multiple subspecies of the marsh wren, Scott, that occur throughout the range, and their taxonomy is supposedly not fully evaluated. So you want to think that we know everything there is about a bird, about birds and the species, but there's still much to be learned. So in the east, the eastern marsh wren is rustier and more brightly colored than the western counterparts. And the birds in the west have a larger repertoire of songs that are harsh, that are more harsh and more complex than their eastern feathered cousins. There's also a small unconnected population in Mexico, in the states of Hidalgo, Mexico, and Puebla that is not connected to the United States. Birds, this, Scott, is the marsh wren taken at the San Jacinto Wildlife Preserve in Southern California, photo by our friend and benefactor, Carl Bernhardt. And while we're here, if anybody out there is watching, you have pictures of birds, send them to us. We'd love to show the birds in your neck of the woods. Right now, been looking at a bunch of Carl Bernhardt photos. I'm returning back to some photos from Terry Stanfield, who sadly died back in November. So we'll know we will not get any more photos from Terry, but I still have 150 photos to go through for Terry. So we would love to see your photos. You can send them to Explore Alliance at explorerscientific.com. I bet Scott types that into the message right now. Now we're moving to another wren. It's the Beeswick Wren, as in name is like Jones. It would be Jones's wren. It's named after a guy named Beeswick, who was John James Audubon's illustrator and did some illustrations for him. He named a bird in his honor. This is about a 5-inch long bird, medium size for a wren. It is sparrow size. Let's listen to its call real quick.
Oh, that's nice. guess there's also a Beeswick Wren in addition to the wren. So he's got a couple of birds named after him.
Yep, he's got a couple. I guess when John James Audubon is your friend and he likes you a lot, he names more birds after you. So,
Yes.
yeah, as I said, they're a sparrow-sized bird, subdued brown and gray wrens. They have a long brow-like white stripe over their eye, clearly visible in this picture here. The back and wings are plain brown. As we can see here, the under parts are a gray-white, and its tail that we can't see, but we could see in the video, is long tail is barred with black tip with white spots. Male and females look the same, so they are monomorphic, and they often will sit like wrens do with the tails cocked back up over their backs, flicking from side to side. These birds' habitat, and you're going to look at the map, Scott, and see that generally they like dry brush areas. They're a bird of the Southwest. However, Scott, it's not outside of bounds that we could see a Beeswick Wren here, because we're in Northwest Arkansas and it's within their year-round range. So we might have to be on the lookout for said Beeswick's Wren, but they like scrub thickets and open country, open woodlands near rivers and streams. They're at home in gardens, residential areas, parks, cities, and suburbs. In other words, a very adaptive bird. This bird was photographed at the Riverside Botanical Garden on the campus of the University of California. So it looks like a agave plant of some sort, maybe, that it's setting on. They're a very noisy, hyperactive bird, as we said, with that white eyebrow and hopping from branch to branch. Master vocalist belt out a string of short whistles, warbles, birds, and trills to attract mates and defend their territory and scold visitors with their call. They're very, very common in much of Western North America, but they have virtually disappeared from the East. So the question becomes, well, why is that? From the research, this decline in the eastern U.S. coincides with range expansion of the house wren. The supposition is that the house wren, which is known to remove eggs from cavity nesters, is directly responsible for the decline. The increased availability of nest boxes may have helped the spread of the house wren, which therefore led to the decline of the Beeswick's wren. You can attract this bird if it's in your range to your property with native shrubs, willow, mesquite, elderberry, chaparral plants, or by keeping a brush pile in your yard. Well, there you have it. If you want to attract a whole lot of birds, keep lots of native shrubs and have brush piles. You know, it's like I say, if you want to have brown thrashers in your yard in their range, you need some leaves for them to turn over. So you have to have rare areas under trees that you don't rake and turn into, monoculture yards. You can attract a breeding pair. Make sure you put up well before the breeding season, like all nest boxes, and attach a guard to keep predators from raiding the young. Obviously, you can't stop house wrens from doing it with a guard. Now, I found this very interesting. Young male Beeswick's wrens learn to sing from their neighboring male adults while he's between 30 and 60 days old. The song he develops differs from his father's, with a note changed here and a syllable there. The signature he acquires by age 60 days old will be his signature call for life. So they all have individual calls that they learn from birds in the neighborhood, but they make it their own, and it becomes a unique call for their life. So a very pretty bird there. Let's see. There's another shot of him. And I like that shot.
So what does this particular type of bird like to eat?
The wrens like are catchers. Look at the size of that bill, right?
Yeah, well, it's
The-
really sharp, you know.
It's
so-
it's really sharp, but it's really long and um, uh, pointed. They're going to be insect catchers. They'll
I see.
also eat seeds and ground dwelling stuff, but they
Sure.
are an insect eater because that, like the video said, the bills give things away oftentimes, right? Whoops. Sorry about that. Did my other screen just pop up? I clicked something.
It did
Yep.
briefly,
Okay.
but you're
Yep.
good now.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to the black-necked stilt. These are, I'm having trouble with my tongue. It's like
Necked?
black-necked stilt.
Okay, you're still
Stilt.
on the Beeswick Wren though.
Yep. I'm trying to click. There we
There you
go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
A beautiful bird.
It looks like a stork,
It's
kinda.
kind of, but it's a stilt, which, obviously you can look at it. And if it was standing on land, you're going to know this is a wading bird. It just says wading bird when you look at it, right? Long legs like that, which look like stilts, that long probing bill,
Yeah.
it just screams shorebird. Scott, this is a big bird. You can't tell from the picture how big it is, but
Doesn't
it's
look that big.
16 inches tall, 13 to 16 inches
Wow.
in length. So it's between the size of a robin and a crow. Obviously, a shorebird, a wading bird, makes it along the eastern coast, eastern seaboard around Florida,
Mhm.
goes way down into South America, year round, down in southern Mexico, Guatemala, and also has migrating and breeding populations in the United States, and a year-round population in Southern California, where Carl Bernhardt lives. He took this photo at San Jac Wildlife Preserve. Here we go. To me, that sounds almost woodpecker-like, Scott.
Yeah.
Some of the woodpeckers, if you think back, probably listen to, the woodpeckers don't just keep going on and on. But to me, that's almost a woodpecker sound. So they're obviously black on top and white below, clear from the photo, with white around the eyes and those rosy pink legs that really make this bird stand out. In females and immature birds, the black areas of its body are brownish and turn black as the males become mature. They wade in shallow bodies of water. They are seldomly seen swimming, and they're always wading in pursuit of tiny aquatic invertebrates, excuse me. They're very deliberate foragers. They walk slowly through the water, sweeping back and forth, looking for their targets. They're very deliberate in how they execute it. Scott's playing with a pair of binoculars. I'm sure he's going to talk about binoculars here in a minute. Binoculars, if you're going to do birding, are an important part of the repertoire of tools you need. So anyway, black-necked stilts are almost always found near shallow water, salt and fresh water, mud flats, salt pans, salt marshes, and many human-modified habitats, including sewage ponds, evaporation pools, and flooded fields. They're often participate in what's called popcorn display, which involves when a predator or something perceived as a predator appears, they'll gather around it in groups and jump up and down, hopping, flapping, and in an attempt to drive it away from their nesting areas. And another bird we saw a while back, the American avocet and the black-necked stilt are in the same family and thus close enough related to hybridize and produce a hybrid bird. The offspring are rare. Birders who have documented this cross breeding called the bird the Avo stilt, and could find no good descriptions of it. But if you remember, the American avocet has a long bill that curves up, so it'd be interesting to see what those look like. There's also a Hawaiian subspecies and a subspecies in South America, sometimes called the whiteback stilt, has a collar across the upper back. In Hawaii, they're known as the AEO, EO, AO, don't know, O. And the last bird in our deck today is the greater roadrunner. This is a photo by Terry Stanfield, who, as I said, passed away back in November after a long career. He was the moving force behind creation of the Eagle Watch Nature Area near Gentry, Arkansas, which is where this photo was taken. Roadrunners are cuckoos, which are, a interesting species of bird. They have a very distinctive shape thanks to cartoons in the 60s. Everybody of that generation knows exactly what a roadrunner sort of looks like and what it does. They have long legs, very long straight tail, and a long neck. The head has a short crest, and the bill is long, heavy, and slightly down curved. They have patches behind their eyes that are very, very colorful, with blue skin behind the eye. You see them as brown or tan with streaking throughout their back and chest. The crown has small spots on it that they can hold erect when they want to, and the wings are dark with white highlights. These are birds of the ground, although where they live, hunting lizards, small mammals, and birds. They're extremely fast runners, and when they're running at top speed, they lean over almost and run parallel with the ground with their tails streaming behind them, just like we see done in the cartoons. They are very weak flyers, but you can see them perched on the ground, on fences, and sometimes as high as telephone wires. At the cattle farm I used to have, there was a couple of roadrunners we'd see periodically. Haven't seen them in a number of years. Probably habitat change is causing that. Some subdivisions have been built around the neighborhood, and that creates, less habitat for them. Typically, they're birds of the hot Southwest, although, Scott, they range up into southern Missouri in the Ozarks and go as far east as the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I've seen those birds out here.
Yeah, you see them if you look for them. And I think that, like I just said, you got to be looking for stuff. If you just drive along in oblivion, glorious things pass you by. But if you're in a passenger in a vehicle, don't just sit there on your phone checking your email or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is. Look around you and find the beauty that's handed to you. You just have to look for them. All right. So roadrunners have evolved a way to adapt to the extremes of living in the desert. We haven't listened to the bird, have we? All right, let's listen to the bird real quick.
Don't hear anything yet.
You will. Here it comes. Hear that coo-like sound? That's it. Sounds like a dove almost. Obviously, this is an urban.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, there was that. Let me go back to it again.
It's quiet.
It's never, here it comes. Right here. Can you hear it?
No.
When it turns and bends over, that's when it's calling.
Oh, it's just like a little faint kind of a sound.
Yeah,
I do hear that.
Yeah. One
I was
more
expecting
time.
something much more miraculous.
See, that's what's crazy. Tiny little birds make these miraculous sounds, and big birds that you would think would roar don't do anything. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. Subtle.
Very subtle. Yeah. Very cool looking birds, but they are
That's cool.
predators.
You know, I mean,
so anyway,
seeing them on actually running alongside the road, you can see how quickly they go. I don't think I could run as fast as a road runner. That's for sure.
you can't run as fast as a squirrel. I mean,
Right.
have,
Well,
you
that's
ever
true.
have you ever tried to catch a squirrel? Those are tiny little things, little bitty short legs, and even if you get close to them, they can turn so fast.
Sure.
And then you get close to them, they shoot up a tree, and so you're done with it. But they do have adaptations that allows them to live in extremely hot, dry locations. Just like seabirds have developed this ability, they create a solution of highly concentrated salt liquid through a gland in front of each eye. This uses far less water than excreting it via their kidneys and out their urinary system. So they excrete this salty fluid from their eyes. In many areas, the moisture they get comes from their prey, including mammals and reptiles, which provide them water in an otherwise scarce part of their diet. Chicks and adults in extremely hot areas flutter an unfeathered area beneath their chin called the gular fluttering, which allows them gular, Gular fluttering, which allows them to dissipate heat like elephants wave their ears. They can dissipate heat with that. Here's something interesting. They eat poisonous animals, including venomous lizards and scorpions, snakes too, with no ill effect. Although where horned lizards live, the birds are very careful to swallow them head first to keep their horns pointed away from their vital organs through their digestive tract. They kill and eat rattlesnakes, often in pairs with another road runner. One will distract the snake by jumping and flapping and doing a little dance, I guess, popcorning like the stilt did with just one of them. The other one then sneaks up and pins the head, and once pinned, it picks it up and bashes the snake against a rock until it's dead. And here's something interesting. If the snake's too long to swallow at once, that's okay. The roadrunner will just rock around with its tail sticking out of its mouth, out of its bill, until it's able to swallow the snake as it works its way through the roadrunner's digestive system.
Yeah.
And there, Scott, is our 5 birds of the day. So you got
yeah, I don't think I'd like to see it would just be weird.
It would be weird, but I think it'd be a sort of a cool factor.
Of course,
there's a cool factor to it.
If you like to watch animals eat, so
we watch birds eat seeds.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
and I do feed birds. Yeah, I do. I have a little bird feeder, and it's awesome. We have all kinds of songbirds coming through, and Arkansas is a great place for that. And what I've been looking at as I have my bird feeder out there, and we have a lake out behind the house and everything. We got a lot of waterfowl out there as well, and I'm looking at getting a really nice pair of binoculars for that.
Where would you get those, Scott?
Where do we get those? I'll sell you a pair from right here.
Explore Scientific has binoculars.
Yeah, so these, I don't know if you guys can, I guess it would be sharp. These are Alpen Rainier EDHD 10 by 42s.
Ooh, them
And
are bad boys.
Okay, yeah, they're probably our most expensive binocular. Okay.
Mhm.
But once you get these things in your hand, okay, you start to understand why. I mean, the body structure of it and everything's really, really strong, and you feel like you're really holding, a professional instrument. You got what's kind of standard on a lot of binoculars. You'll see kind of click up eye cups. At least you'll see these on nicer binoculars. Where this particular binocular really separates from other binoculars is just the image contrast, the brightness of it, and which is kind of startling when you first look through it. But how close it can focus is really quite astounding. And I am just a little bit away from my desk, and I'm looking at something at my desk from about 4 feet away. Okay, at 10 power, 4 feet away. That's like having a magnifying glass. It's really nice. And, it's got this nice focus knob here, but if you pull it up, I don't know if you could hear that.
I heard us. Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah, if you pull it up, you can adjust the right diopter right there. So you get the right diopter setting, perfectly done. You push it back down.
So it doesn't have the traditional diopter.
Yeah, it doesn't have it on the
side.
other, this eyepiece right here. So kind of, I find, a lot of people will close one eye, get the focus, and then they'll close the other eye. And not your physical eyes, but the lens on the binoculars, so you can stay relaxed, and then get it focused to your right eye, and then you pop that down and refocus. And then if you have to, I find that if you keep both eyes open and make a tiny adjustment, you can really zero in the sharpness there. And so, these are called Rainier EDHD binoculars. The prisms on these binoculars have special metallic coatings on them. Okay, this is just not prism glass. These are the AK4 roof prisms, but they put a metallic coating on them, so they reflect more light through them. They're phase coated, super multi-coated, beautiful eyepieces, giant eye lenses on them.
Every bell and whistle you can get on a pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
And comparable models, Scott, if you go shopping.
Like a Swarovski, a Zeiss.
For twice and 3 times the money.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But, but the investment of these sell for $1,600. Okay. So it's not like, if you're buying a pair of binoculars and it's kind of like a, spur of the moment kind of thing, well, you're not going to throw down $1,600. But if you really think about it, you really enjoy birding, you really enjoy observing nature, getting a set of optics will really take it to the next level for you is definitely well worth it,
Right.
And, these things will last you more than a lifetime. You'll be handing these things down to your grandkids, so beautiful, beautiful optical set.
So Scott, I want to share a screen here real quick. There we go. Is it sharing? I'm going to go the exact other direction here, Scott.
Yeah.
This pair of Explorer One 6x21 binoculars, $20. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you look at these and go, oh, them are toy binoculars. These are real binoculars.
Yeah, they're not toys.
They have glass lenses, metal body,
Yeah.
a diopter adjuster. I mean, this is a real deal pair of binoculars.
Yeah, if you're going to get binoculars for your kids, or you just want something to have in the glove box, or in your backpack or something like that, these are a great value. They're sold under the Explorer One line, and they were issued, although we don't have it on our website, they were issued an award for design for kids. So.
These are the bomb. I mean, and they're good for adults too. These, don't look at these as kid binoculars. Yeah, if you're going out birding and don't want to give your kid a pair of $200 binoculars, that's okay. Let your kids go out with this pair of binoculars. It's, I think, rated for ages 6 and up. Mm-hmm. But I've got a 2-year-old grandkid. that now is looking through a pair of, I got him some educational entry level toy binoculars, and he goes out and understands what they are and plays with them. But my 4 and 5-year-old grandsons are out using binoculars right now, and let them tag along, let them learn to look at birds with you and enjoy being outdoors, with you. Same plan as if you're going to get your kid into astronomy, it's just like my dad. I had friends that'd take fishing, and they'd bring their own fishing rods, and they'd have these little Mickey Mouse fishing rods. And I use that term both literally and figuratively. And Dad always bought, at the time, I didn't realize it, but Dad always bought us adult fishing gear. And I finally asked him, he says, well, I figured if you wanted to learn to fish, you should learn to fish using good gear. And he says, you know how much trouble, Mike had with that Mickey Mouse fishing rod? Yeah. Did you have that trouble? No. And he smiled and said, that's because I bought you a Zebco 33 combo kit. And it's like, Dad, you were brilliant. Same thing. If you want your kid, don't send him out with toy stuff. Send him out with the real deal stuff. $20 is the real deal stuff, right? So anyway, so I went the exact opposite direction, but it's the same thing. Get out there and do birds. Mornings.
Next time we do an On the Wing, I'll show another pair of Alpine binoculars. They're the 10 by 34s that really they're not the expensive binoculars, but they work really well. Mm-hmm. And I really love the size, the format of it, because it's lightweight, bright with 34 millimeter objectives, much better than like a 21 millimeter objective. Mm-hmm. It works surprisingly well. So,
yep. So there we go.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit beyond, if we talk about birds on Global Star Party, which we did quite a bit of the last Global Star Party, we want to talk a little bit about some star parties coming up for Explore Alliance. And that would include the Arizona Dark Sky Star Party. That is the planning on that is getting all dialed in, and so
September 21 through 26 or something like that.
September 21st through the 25th.
25th.
Yeah, and that is in Oracle, Arizona, and so we have teamed up with Biosphere 2 and the Oracle State Park for that, and so. It's going to be a fabulous event, and so you definitely want to head off to that. And then we're also planning on something called the Crossroads of the Eclipse Star Parties, eclipse events.
We're starting to call them expeditions, right?
Expedition, because it really is kind of an expedition, right? You go to an eclipse. It is. I guess you could call it a star party because it's one star, right? But it's going to be in dark skies, right?
Low Bortle 2.
So what was our SQM
meter? I had it written down here. Hang on a second. 21.96. It only goes to 6. It only goes to 22.
Is utter darkness.
Yeah. It suffers from San Antonio being off to the east and Kerrville off to the northeast.
Yeah, if you can call that suffering. The Milky Way is incredible from there.
Yeah, and the west and south is spectacular. Right. Just spectacular.
So I am going to put in, if I didn't do this already, I did earlier, but we have the webpage for this.
You're letting the secret out of the bag, Scott.
Yeah. We are still building out information for this. I mean, we're still a year away from the 2023 eclipse. But
we're literally working on it. We've worked on it the last really 3 days hard.
Yeah. And so you can see information about the eclipses there, some schedule. And if any of you have been to the Winter Star Party and have partaken of, food from Mickey's Kitchen, Mickey is going to make it all the way out from Florida out to the crossroads of the Eclipse's star party. So you'll have the world famous Mickey's kitchen there, you know, and I think what she's most famous for, I mean, she makes a great, you know, great food. She's asking us right now what she should make. And I was saying, well, it's Texas, you know, so we got Tex-Mex, we got steak, we got, you know, these kinds of things. I said, I'm vegetarian, so I'm the oddball in the group, but she's really excited to be going out there. She wants to see the eclipses herself, and she, you know, she's never seen an eclipse, a total eclipse. So those of you who have not gone, we can give you some tips. You know, both Kent and I went to the 2017 eclipse in Casper, Wyoming, and we one of the things, the takeaways from that is that you know, if you're getting a hotel, that you want to do it as early as you can, okay, because you'll get a lower rate, but you want to make sure that when they give you this reservation, that it is guaranteed, okay? It's guaranteed not to go up in price. It's also guaranteed not to be canceled on you, because there were people that drove all the way out for the eclipse, got ready to go, you know, check in on their hotel room, only to find that it had been canceled, okay, by the management of the hotel, okay? And now it was available for like 3 or 4 times the price.
Or more.
Or more, right. And so
I'm a big believer, Scott. I don't like paying for guaranteed reservations when I'm traveling, you know, over the road, because I'll stop where I want to stop, right? And not get a guaranteed reservation. But I think if you're going to pay for a guaranteed reservation, this is the time to do it and lock that thing down.
Yeah.
Because
and we
pay
saw,
for it.
We tried to, this was after the eclipse. We're driving back. The eclipse is done. It's a day after the eclipse, and we're trying to drive back, and we're going through Nebraska, okay? And I mean, the area we were at was not even in the center line path. Yet Motel 6s, I mean, motels that usually go for under $100 a night were $600 and $800 a night, okay?
Yeah.
After the eclipse. During the eclipse, it was like impossible to get. So, you know, you really want to plan this out. It's, you know, eclipses are generally expensive to go see anyways, but, you know, we are making it an affordable experience, you know, and with final pricing coming up, but the rate will run basically what you would have to pay if you were going to stay at a hotel
for 4 days or 5 days.
Non-eclipse time, okay?
Right.
So that's basically what it is. We have to bring in water, toilets, you know, we're bringing in security. It is in a remote hill country, rural area. It's on a private ranch. And, you know, so we want you to have a great star party experience under super dark skies, but we also want to take you to a place where you can see both eclipses as they, you know, in 2023 and 2024. So you do the 2023 annular eclipse, and you'll know exactly where to go, what to do, where your spot is, everything, you know, and you'll get set back up for the 2024 total eclipse. And so,
so we're going to offer camping. If you have an RV or a trailer or a Class A or whatever, we can get you in there. When you're going to register, we'll find out what your
dry
options
camping,
are.
Though. There's no
it's dry camping. There's no hookups. There's no sewer. There is a couple places in a little town close by, Lakey, Texas.
Lakey.
Pronounced.
So if you look on the page that I just I posted for you know, explorescientific.com/eclipse, you'll see the accommodations, and I did make a link for Good Sam, link for those of you that have RVs, you know, and that's really the ultimate way to go, you know, because you've got your shower and you got bed, and you can bring, you know, if you got a generator or propane powered refrigerator, you got cold stuff there. There's some good restaurants in Lakey, and but Mickey's Kitchen is going to be there, and that's fabulous. That really makes it a much better experience.
There is not a hotel in Lakey, Texas. The closest hotel or motel effectively is 40 miles away in Uvalde or 60 miles away in Kerrville. Those are the closest hotels. What we offer is a star party. I mean, because we're going to have a star party in the days leading up to, and even the night after. Because one thing that we learned in the eclipse of 2017, traffic is going to be gridlock.
Yeah.
And, it took a friend of mine, instead of taking 3 hours to get 3.5 hours to get back from Casper, Wyoming to Fort Collins, it took her 15 hours. Okay. Because traffic just stopped on the interstate, didn't move for hours on end. We're going to have the same problem here, because if you want the best chance of clear skies, statistically, that's the farther south you get in Texas, the better off you are. The reality is you got to get down into Mexico. If you want guarantee, you got to go down into Mexico, but most of us aren't that comfortable, Scott, getting down deep into Mexico. That's just asking for trouble, it seems like. So it's going to be rustic. It's going to be
it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Texas Hill Country is also Texas wine country,
And we're also going to be bringing in, we're going to have sessions during the day on Friday of, various things that may be cultural in experience. Can't say what, because we haven't lined it out yet and got guarantees, but we've had some fun discussions. But talk about Texas Hill Country history and the geology of it, and it's wine country, so who knows what we can work out there as well. But we're offering a couple of nights of really fantastic dark skies.
Yes.
For a star party, for a true star party. And why worry about getting into that gridlock traffic to go a few miles and then stop for hours?
No.
Let the eclipse happen.
If you're flying down, you want to allow a couple of days after the eclipse to get your plane.
And San Antonio airport is not a huge airport. I cannot imagine what it's going to look like. I can tell you this: the Casper airport opened up a pasture next to the airport. I read this, and they parked an extra 1,000 planes there, some crazy number of planes. And they ended up having to close the airport because they could take no more airplanes. Every place they could park an airplane had an airplane parked. That's going to happen at San Antonio Airport.
Oh yeah.
And all the people trying to get back to the airport to catch their flights.
Yeah, don't make it tight,
So stay with us.
With your eclipse plans, allow plenty of time for travel. There's just, there's some major highways and stuff like that. They're all going to be filled, if you can imagine the traffic at Woodstock, okay, where they had, they're getting 1 million people in there, and people basically clogged up all the roads getting into where the concert was being held, and people just kind of abandoned their cars and walked in. You're going to see that during the eclipse, and everyone is starting to learn that Texas is the place to go for certainly for these eclipses, because it's better chance of clear weather, you combine that with dark sky night, and learning how to enjoy hill country itself. You're going to find out that this will be an unforgettable experience, really.
Right. So, Scott, I've got a picture I'm trying to find. I probably can't find it quickly, of the traffic jam that was 40 miles long to get to the road to turn off.
I'm sure it's on the news.
To go to the road to went to Denver, because that's how we were going to go back, is through Denver, because I've never been to Colorado or Denver. But yeah, that didn't work. So I got to figure out how to find locations here. Oh, darn it.
Well, this was 2017 news on a .gov website. It says eclipse traffic could be the most significant traffic event of the year. Traffic going to Wyoming and Nebraska for Monday viewing is expected to be very heavy through the weekend. Yeah, so it's just, it was nuts.
It was
nuts.
nuts.
I really had never experienced anything quite like that.
Not finding the
There's
picture.
Wyoming traffic jam. Here's a picture. This is on, I'll share my screen here.
Scott, we're getting a lot of background noise from you.
There's people right outside my door. Sorry.
Yep, being chaotic.
Here, I'll shut my door. That should be a little bit better.
That's a little better.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, that's more better.
Wyoming solar eclipse traffic jam was one for the record books.
Yeah.
More than 500,000 cars hit the road in record-breaking traffic jam statewide. So those people are just stopped. Okay, you can see it was really, really crazy. And one of 46 pictures. Let's see. That's not so bad. That's worse. There's the eclipse. Nice shot. You know, during these eclipses, you get almost 300, in fact, usually a 360-degree sunset. It's really pretty.
Okay, so to put this in perspective, we were trying to get out. I'm going to share my screen again, show you where we were. See if I can show the right one to begin with. There we go. All right, let's share that one. Okay, so here's Mount Casper, Casper Mountain, and we were right in here, right? We were right here, and we could see the shadow of the eclipse coming down up this valley, right? Up this valley. Mm-hmm. So we knew traffic was going to be bad on the interstate going out of Casper. So we came down this road right here, and we made it to right about here and sat for an hour and didn't move.
On that little road?
On this road. So we were right here, right? And this is the road that goes to Laramie to get on the road to go to Denver, right? Fort Collins. Mm-hmm. We sat on that little straight stretch, and then we turned around and said, we're not doing this. We came up here and took some roads through here and got on some state roads and came up into Nebraska and worked our way back down into Nebraska. So at least we were driving. We had a friend who was right here at Glen Rock. It took her go from there to there 15 hours.
Wow.
Right? And so we would have been sitting in that all night long. All of Denver came to Casper.
Hours. How far is that stretch?
3 hours.
No. How many miles?
Okay, let's do this. Let's just say Casper, Wyoming to Fort Collins, Colorado.
It was a 15-hour drive.
3 hours and 9 minutes.
Normally 3 hours and 9 minutes. Wow.
And 221 miles.
Yeah, so you can imagine how fast she was going.
She said
not very fast at all.
She wasn't moving. She said she finally just went to sleep, and you should wake up every couple hours and then drive a couple miles and then stop again. And she just went back to sleep again. And,
right.
So it's gonna be crazy. That's for sure. Oh, I'm looking at some pictures here. Here's something cool we did. See if I can share that picture. So this is a picture of Clint Branham holding his fingers like in a tic-tac-toe pattern or a hashtag pattern, like that. And you can see the eclipse sun going through the hole in his fingers on that rock.
That's cool.
See, right, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you can see the eclipse down there that we're taking pictures of.
And we will have a new show.
There's a better picture of it.
There you go. Oh, now you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's through a hole in his fingers that he's made. If you haven't seen an eclipse, you need to go.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing an annular. An annular is going to be really cool to see. I'm really looking forward to it. And by the way, folks, you have to use eclipse glasses the entire time on an annular eclipse, or else you will put your eye out. And we don't want you to put your eye out. We'll be like the Christmas story, Red Ryder BB gun, but you will in fact put your eye out, and we don't want that. So if you've never seen eclipse, plan for this now. Start saving your money. Come join us in Texas Hill Country.
Right.
It's going to be a blast. It's an expedition. It's an adventure. It's worth the time and the effort. And I will tell you, it is addicting. It's addicting. You don't really get it. It's cool. I want to see it because, hey, it's an eclipse. But as soon as it's happened, you're over with. You're on your phone. When's the next eclipse? Can I afford to go there?
Right. Well, there's people that get truly addicted and they don't care how much it costs. They just go.
Yeah.
They take out loans to go.
Yeah. We don't want you to do that, but
No.
this is not going to be super expensive. Like I said, it's going to be an average
hotel room. It is a transformative experience. There's people, Kent uses the example of being almost pregnant. Okay. If you've seen like a partial eclipse, versus being actually pregnant, fully pregnant.
Yeah. It's the difference. 99% totality is really cool. It was really weird watching what was going on with the light. But if 99% eclipse is an ice cube that's been out of the refrigerator for 10 minutes, totality is that ice cube turns instantly into boiling water. It goes from being a frozen cube. That's how much of a difference it is. Seeing a partial eclipse is cool. Seeing a deep eclipse is really cool because of the weird effects. But totality, you can't touch a candle to it. It's the difference between being almost pregnant and really being pregnant. I mean, it's hard to explain.
Right.
So.
And we will start having a new show about eclipses, both lunar and solar eclipses. It's going to be called Eclipse Experience. This is the intro. So I'm really excited to start doing that. And we're lining up speakers now for Eclipse Experience. And we're going to show you how to safely observe the eclipse, how to do eclipse photography, where to go, what to do, how to time things. You're going to be learning from the experts. So, if I can get enough material and enough speakers, we'll be doing it weekly, leading all the way up to the eclipse itself. So
2 years. That's 100.
We'll have 2 years of that's right. But
that's 100
1 year
programs.
Getting to the annular eclipse for sure.
18 months, I think it is, to annular, and then 2 years. Now, I will tell you this. I'm a photographer. I've literally been taking pictures professionally, getting paid for it since I was 13 years old. I was in the newspaper business. I'm good with a camera. I just went up there and thought, okay, I'm going to take pictures. I'll be fine. I'm a photographer. I got okay pictures, but I didn't get the pictures I wanted because I didn't take the time in the weeks leading up to it to do it every day to make it muscle memory. And Scott talked about muscle memory. We were talking about it. I didn't have the muscle memory to do it, and I made a critical mistake. I was going to shoot in RAW and JPEG, but and all the photos leading up to the eclipse were in RAW and JPEG. But when I started taking pictures of the eclipse, somehow I just took JPEG. And so I lost the ability to do that raw manipulation of having a raw image. And it was just a lack of that muscle memory. And I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And I don't want anybody else to. That's a personal experience. I got okay pictures. I did not get great pictures. And, you know, I'm proud of the pictures I got, but I know I could have done better if I would have just dedicated the time to perfect what I was going to do.
It's such a shocker.
Yes.
My first eclipse was in 91 on Mauna Kea. Okay, we're with professional solar astronomers. Okay, like the world class, because this was the great eclipse. The duration as it passed over Baja California was 7 minutes long. Okay, I think the longest theoretical eclipse is like 7 minutes and 22 seconds. This was just shy of that. Over Mauna Kea, it was the first time that a total eclipse had passed over a major professional observatory complex. Okay, in 1991, Mauna Kea was holding, you know, what was being billed as the world's largest telescope. It was the Keck telescope. Okay, it wasn't quite finished at the time in 91, but it was just an amazing experience. And so I'm out there filming the eclipse with the film crew, and I see professional astronomers run out of the building so they can see it. You know, they're watching on monitors, but they wanted to see it, okay? And so they ran out of the building, and you could just see like their jaws just drop, okay, as they're watching, you know, the totality experience. And it is, it will make you forget things. It will make you, it's just, there's nothing like it. So definitely need to experience it, and it's going to be in our backyard. So, you know, make sure you make plans.
Yep, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our
Scott,
show.
any
today.
comments? Any comments today? We have do the shout out business.
Of course. Let's see who signed on first here. We've got Paul Burgart, who was commenting on the Eagle battle that was at the first part of the show. Mike Wiesner was on. He says it's time for On the Wing or Soaring with Kent and Scott.
Thank you very much. I'm going to change it to that title next week.
That's
just
right.
Parenthetical.
Billy's Astro is on. He's been commenting a lot on this program. Harold Locke was on, of course, and commenting too. Everybody's saying howdy, our official greeting here on our shows. Harold says hello, Ken and Scott. Hope all is well with the ES family in Springdale, which it is. Let's see. It was kind of weird when we were watching the video, the feature video. The kids were at the zoo and everything, and that penguin started growling.
It did.
At that kid.
Yeah, that penguin was going to say.
For measuring it's like a little flipper wing, right? So he didn't like that. So those are Jim's Astro. Howdy, Scott. Ordered my first Explore Scientific telescope Tuesday. Thought it was a good way to show my thanks for you all. Well, Jim, thank you very much. I mean, that's really wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate it. Jeff Wise says hello. And Paul Burgart said, got his sun catcher today. That is a very clever design. Wouldn't you know, cloudy and windy today. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. When you cut that black foam triangles.
No, wait a minute. What is the sun catcher? It's an over the lens white light solar filter.
Yes. It's an over the lens, and one size fits many, and you have to customize it to your telescope. Don't cut that black foam too quickly. You want that to be a really good, solid, snug fit. You don't want it to just slip on and slip off. You want to have to wedge it on there.
Hanging on to your telescope.
So take your time, cut it, mark it, and then cut a little inside of it all the way around. Each one of those, 4 of them. and it's better to cut off too little and then shave a little bit more off until you get a good tight fit than to cut too much off and then go have to go, gee, now I have to contact Kent or Scott or somebody so scientific
for more foam
and-
triangles.
and beg them to send me more foam triangles.
Right.
So we'll do that, but we certainly want you to get it right. And in no way, shape, or form, let it be a loose fit, because that's going to be very bad if you do that.
Yeah, you'll be taping the unit on.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that.
Right. So there were comments about the bird calls. So that, that was neat. And Jeff Wise says, I must have seen one a few weeks ago. It looked like a small turkey. I guess they were talking about that large pigeon,
Yeah, that's a big pigeon.
Harold Locke is commenting on Carl Bernhardt's great bird photography. Very nice. And Harold Locke says, you guys are mentioned in the weather report this morning. Pouring rain. Yeah, it was. We did have rain. And it did get cold here too.
Yeah, it was 37 this morning when I got up.
It's Jeff Wise, the text on the Eclipse page has the incorrect months identified. Is that true?
October and April.
2023 is the annular eclipse, and October 2024 is the total eclipse.
Hang on.
Did we get that backwards? It is. Oh, I see. I think it's in the verbiage. Let me look at it again.
So the annular.
Thank you for catching that.
The annular is in 2023 October, and the total is in April of 24.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Thank you.
Yes, I see it. I see what's happening.
They were talking about the Roadrunners, and Jim's Astro was talking about the pocket fisherman. Remember that?
I had a pocket fisherman.
Did you really? Was it Ron Popeil that sold the? Okay, so I actually met Ron Popeil at when I was doing a QVC show, and he was there.
It made him famous, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he walked around like he was.
Okay, I've got that fixed. The October and April, I switched them, so that should be. They'll populate pretty quickly.
Lisa Fanning, Harold Locke is mentioning that Lisa Fanning did mention she was very active in Audubon. And we're going to have Lisa on the Wing show, so she'll be on a future show. We're excited to have her. And just want to make sure I'm not missing any. I mentioned that Texas Hill Country is also Texas wine country. And Harold Locke does point out to me that wine is the best vegan drink.
100%. Well, whiskey's vegan too, but yeah.
Yeah. Well. And Harold said he drove 15 hours from San Fernando Valley to San Marcos on a Thanksgiving Eve. It was triple time. Billy says he'll be able to stay. Billy's Astro says he'll be able to stay home for the 2023 annular eclipse. Looks like it's going to pass right over his house. That's great. Carl says it took several hours to drive back to his sister's house from Salem to Portland, Oregon on I-5, which would normally take 1 hour. Yeah, so again, a warning, just you're better off just not to even get in that traffic mess after an eclipse. Let it settle out for a day, at least one day, and yeah, and plan on getting back the next day.
Right.
Because if you cut it off tight, you will miss your flight. So
Guaranteed. If you have to drive from anywhere, unless you're at the San Antonio airport for the eclipse,
yeah,
and then pack up and go into the airport, you're going to miss your flight.
yes,
If you have and Scott, here's something I saw people do at Casper. As soon as totality was over with, people packed up and left. I guess to beat the rush. I mean, the whole point is
no, they got in the rush.
they caused the rush. It would have been the same thing just an hour later.
Yeah.
But
It would have been nice though to see the eclipse, kind of let it soak in the day after, just that amazing experience. Let it soak in. Let the traffic, ease up, because everybody cuts everything off so tight, on
nice
time.
and relaxing afternoon. A good meal from the kitchen.
Yeah.
Let the sun go down. Enjoy the stars until a solid time of the night. Get a good night's sleep and pull out of our secure, fenced, one-way in, guarded location.
Yeah.
Pull out onto a paved highway and go on your way.
Yeah.
With no traffic. That's what we offer.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeff Wise said he could bring his smokers out and all of his equipment. You'll have to probably fight it out with Mickey. I think that she's planning on doing something there. So,
yeah, I mean, we're not going to stop people from cooking. I mean, if people want to.
Oh no, of course not.
But here's the thing: if it's really dry, we may have a fire ban on. The county may have a fire ban on. That's always the fear, is that.
Oh yeah, like a grass fire or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's similar to the dryness that you would experience, out in California, where, but the thing that's good about dry is that it makes for really transparent skies.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott, you want that for a dark sky observing night, but you also want it for a total eclipse.
Yes.
Because if you got really transparent skies, that's where you're really going to be able to capture all those nice filaments and all that detail that you can see in a total eclipse, so
yep.
It just makes it more beautiful. Okay. Well, I think that is it, boss. Okay. So thanks very much, everyone. And we won't see you tomorrow. I know that Tyler Bowman will not be doing Focus on Astrophotography tomorrow. So maybe what we do is we talk a little bit more about the eclipse, Kent, and we can do that. So
are we going to have? So Tyler's not doing his show tomorrow. Okay, I'll do the Amazon Live. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can do an initial show for Eclipse Experience, and I have some videos that we can show.
Yep.
Well, also, too, the other Eclipse Experience that's coming up is we have a really great lunar eclipse coming up, and so I can, we can talk a little bit about photography of a total lunar eclipse as well. So.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Bye,
Thank you very
everybody.
much. Take care.
Bye-bye.